Hey there, welcome. This is Lotus. How is your day going? I am loving the fall weather and getting all that I can out of enjoying doing the videos outside in this early morning sunlight. So, this is one way that we can stay in tune and grounded in nature when we can merge different ways of being into the outdoors. So it is also a way that I think about and come into relationship with my morning, bridging my morning time here with you, time here doing other work, and still being able to be connected and look off into the sun, listen to the birds, and it helps for me. It helps me remain grounded and just more deeply in relationship with the greater flow of life. So I wanted to talk about relationship today, and part of what, take these off, part of what I know comes up a lot for people along our awakening journey. And, let's just call our awakening journey a time where we're ready to really grow and change and transform. That's really what awakening is. And since we're experiencing this in mass right now, it's just a natural part of life. But now we're being supported in getting a speedier version of this. So one of the things that can be really challenging for those who are experiencing a lot of change and transformation is, how do you make those shifts from the old into the new? And a couple days ago, I did a video on tower moments, right? And feeling another big tower moment upon me. And if you listen to that video, it talks about like things just start crumbling. It can be really disorienting when the old ways literally do not fit, and when it happens really rapidly and catches you off guard. So after tower moments, or after those times when you really recognize, yeah, not working anymore, it's time to move on, it's time to make changes, there can be this limbo place where where you've got one part that's trying to emerge, and then you have another part dissolving. These are parts of yourself, parts of life, and then there's this in-between crossover where everything is not what it was, but we haven't landed in the new timeline yet, right? We haven't landed in that new reality. And that process can either take a little while, or it can happen rapidly. It all just depends on what this next shift is for you, for anybody, right? And we're seeing this even within the collective. There's a lot of things falling. The new things haven't quite birthed yet. So we're kind of in this, little bit of chaos and unknown place. So really it's about coming into relationship with the unknown. That's one of the things. And how do you respond with the unknown? A lot of people are used to having or needing control in their life to feel safe, to feel secure, to keep things the same and known, right? And understood and predictable. And when we start going through these processes, we start to have to develop a new kind of relationship with our interaction with life. And one of those things is, how can I operate in the unknown? one of the first places that we have to land is inside us, inside the parts of us that we can come home to, that are still and silent and grounded. That's going to help us to get that inner safety and security, even though things are a little questionable. And that sometimes can take practice, right? Because we're used to looking outside of us for the known. We're used to looking outside of us to feel safe and secure, when really our deepest empowerment is that inner relationship with our own self and with our own soul connection. So as we hang out in the unknown, we're in a place of multiple potentials. We're in the place really of abundance, of, wow, there are options. And then we listen to those options. And then we start making new choices, right? To create a new life, we make new choices. To let go of an old life, we stop making the choices that no longer serve us, that no longer uplift us, that no longer nourish us, empower us, and hold that way that we can know that we are loved and we can love, where we can find joy and peace and all of those higher experiences, higher vibrational, expanded experiences. And along with this can come letting go of old, past people, places, things, situations. And this can be very challenging, particularly in these earlier stages of growth and transformation. Because one of the things that we've known historically about life and our lives is that we should be able to count on the consistency of things, even though we really, know that the only constant is change. There's still this way that we want things to stay consistent. We want things to stay the same. We want them to be predictable. And we want to stay in connection with the people, the places, the things, and the situations that have been. Because we don't want to experience loss and grief and letting people go or being let go from others, right? Or if one person can start to move on and then the other person isn't quite there yet, we can have guilt. We can try to hold on. I can remember back in the early 90s when I was in this transitional point of leaving my AA community. And it was something that, was deeply frowned on. But I could tell inside of me, my soul was really leading me to something else. And I had my one closest friend, we were like Tweedledum and Tweedledee. And she had been just my go-to person within sobriety and within, the dramatics of early stage sobriety, and then a little bit of middle stage sobriety and relationships and all of that. We were deeply bonded, and I wanted so much to bring her along, and I was trying, to, hey, why don't we do this? Listen to this, what I'm learning. Listen to this, what I'm experiencing. How does this resonate with you? Oh my gosh, we could move into this whole new area, and it wasn't where she was at. It wasn't time for her. It wasn't what she was feeling and aligned with. And I really struggled because her friendship, meant so much to me. It was sort of like a safety net for me. And I tried, it's like, okay, I can't really move on because I'll lose like this one person that I felt like really got me and who I got. And I didn't want to leave her behind, so to speak, either, But it didn't work. We no longer had the same things in common. We no longer had the same perspectives. I was moving out of the alignment with AA in my life. It wasn't working for me anymore, and I needed something else. There was a deeper calling, to spirit, to my own evolution that was calling me, and I had to honor that. And so I went through a lot of loss. Literally, that was my first, my first letting go. And I let go of my entire community, which was based in Alcoholics Anonymous. I moved across town out of that neighborhood, the hub of the Alano Club in Portland. And out of that neighborhood, I left the one job that I was working at, one flower stand, and I moved to work at another flower stand. And like my whole life changed. I moved into a living situation, a communal living situation, which was, totally new for me. And I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what was really calling me yet, but I knew I was on track. So anyway, whole new doors opened up, whole new experiences, perspectives, information started coming to me that put me on not just my healing journey to the next level, but my spiritual journey and my spiritual calling started waking up then. But it was hard, I felt really lonely during that time. I felt really confused. I felt grief. I felt guilt for leaving my AA community in a lot of ways, and my friend. But I knew that I had to be sort of in that empty space for a while. That tower moment. It was like, it was a tower couple months is what it was. Everything just boom, 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 crumbled, and I just let it fall away. And so making the new choices to make those changes, to move, to leave my community, to start all over again, were the new choices. And because I had opened up a whole new pathway, there were so many new options of new choices, many new potentials that never would have been there before, new people to come in contact with, new things to learn, new ways to be inspired. So, we can go through these in big ways or small ways. And I think that a lot of people are going through them now in a wide range of what that looks like. So the key takeaways that I think I really just want to share is A, you're not alone. And all of those feelings of feeling disoriented and confused and lost and grieving is really normal. And those are actually part of deepening our relationship with ourselves. We're getting this opportunity during these limbo times to reformulate who we are, to look deeper at the part of us that's emerging, that part of us that's rebirthing, that part of us that has a deeper voice that is not of just our personality and our ego construct. There's something much deeper and more profound happening when we can really open up and follow that yellow brick road that is laid out in front of us, but maybe we can only see, like, one, I like to call it the gold brick road, but like one brick of gold light up at a time. And we don't know, even in the beginning, like, is there really a rest of a path out there? It looks pretty dark, looks pretty, empty out there. And also, how to know that when we outgrow different parts of our lives, that it's normal and natural, particularly for the space and time that we're in right now on the planet. This is in some ways the new norm. And, do I think that it's going to be as radical shifts all the time forever? I have no way of knowing, but I do feel like the more that, the further along the journey that we get, this has been my experience, the further along the journey that I've gotten, the bigger towers become less and less. And the external world doesn't seem to alter as much all the time. It's more the internal. So I have found more consistency in my relationships, in my friendships, even though they might change their expression. Hi, Bunny. Oh, you're going to come over to me. Hello. Oh, hi, sweetie. So I've really established this beautiful, he's tugging on my blanket, this beautiful relationship with the critters in my backyard. He's tugging on my blanket. And they've gotten to know me. So on this topic, I'm going to be moving in the spring, next spring. And I've been already kind of going through this grief process. This, I've created this haven here for, hi, baby. He's so cute. I have a plethora of birds. Sorry, I'm making a segue here. I have 4 bird baths back here. I have, the bird feeder. And because I get so many birds, and I've got the little garden space, and because I have so many birds, my yard is sort of like a wild habitat. And I'm already aware, I've got the squirrels, I've got the bunnies. He's still under my chair. And we all know each other, right? We're all used to each other. All of the birds, they know me. I can move around, I can do things, partly because I'm also in a state of coherence, particularly when I'm outside, right? I'm in that state, that natural world state. See you later. And so in coherence, the natural world merges with us more. And they feel safe in our presence. But I'm aware that they've become, over this last 3 or 4 years, really, accustomed to me, accustomed to having fresh water. Like I fill these up, and especially when it's really hot, I change their water a couple times a day. And, you know, and it's like, oh, I'm going to have to leave them. And when I leave them, who's going to take care of them, right? This safe haven won't be the same anymore. And of course they'll find other places, but I've really worked on energetically creating, you know, like this beautiful portal here for them. And it's gonna make me sad to leave them, including my big oak tree. Um, but this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So it's a good segue back. Knowing that some things will gain consistency, and yet we will change inside. And as we change, our relationship to things change. As I'm going into this next change, I'm going to, you know, be moving. I'm not going to be, I mean, I'll still be here in the city, but I'm not going to be here in my lovely backyard. And I will go through a grief process because of all of, you know, these critters that I commune with and love and you know, create relationship with. But this is just this is normal. I'm hoping soon, hopefully within the next 5 years, I'm going to find like a permanent place to land. But my permanency has gotten more permanent over the years, and living in one city has now grounded and anchored because I've moved around a lot, and you know, so things in my experience do continue to land into more consistency, but then there's still things that are always being put in our life, in our path, to help us to continue to grow, refine, expand into higher ways of being. And when I say higher ways of being, I mean in a more healed way of being, in a more remembering of our wholeness way of being, in a way of knowing that no matter what, we can still choose peace and love and joy. And when we get far enough along our journey, you know, my grief when I leave will live simultaneously in the presence of joy, which is a state of being. Grief comes and goes. Grief comes and goes. It's an emotion. It rides and ebbs and flows. States of being are always consistent, but they're connected to that soul presence and our soul power. So the more that we reclaim ourselves, the more that we're able to know that no matter what else is going on, no matter who we're losing, no matter what transitions we're in, we can still access the core of who we are. So this brings us back full circle to the beginning. During times of transformation, hey Betty Squirrel, during times of transformation, the more that we anchor into our center, our sacred center, sacred grounding, I did a video on this recently, we're able to deepen our connection and relationship with our soul presence. And we're always held there. We're always welcome to rest. in that space and place. And this is making our entire journey sacred. The comings, the goings, the loves where we open up, and the loss, right? The endings, the beginnings, the seasons of our fall and winter and spring and summer, the light and the dark, death and rebirth. It's all the same. We're living them within all aspects of our life. And when we can start to weave them together, there's a richness that continues to grow up. And we're always learning. I mean, that's the thing. We're always learning and shifting and changing and evolving. I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted. Oh, here he comes again. Hi, are you coming back? So with that, I'm going to end it because he's coming back to say hi. And so don't worry about your tower moments. Don't worry about the in-between, the limbo place. The new will always rebirth, and it's going to rebirth through you. So enjoy the ride, enjoy the process. Become present and conscious with the letting goes. Feel it, release it, and then open to the beauty of what comes next and what is right here, even in the present moment when you drop in to your own being. All right. Blessings, everyone.